Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by Extreme Exteriors. And our next story is out of Florida. People are feeling crippled and feeling feeling powerless, living in a homeowner association. And there's no doubt that the recession that we're in, the housing bubble that's burst, real estate values that have gone down are something that's difficult that all Americans are feeling the crunch of in our nation. Not certainly indicative just to Florida itself. But as it looks like here in Florida, this is in Lake Worth, Florida, there are some people who are saying something needs to be done. And one person, I guess, categorized it by saying it's like all this money has been taken from you and you have absolutely no recourse on anything that happened, said Donna Wong, a homeowner in a homeowners association. She's upset because she has paid her homeowner association dues every month for the last 7 years since she's lived in her HOA. But she says not everyone in her townhouse community does that. She said it makes you feel like you just want to give up.
And we know that homeowners in associations are feeling this crunch because lots of people are going into foreclosure. There's lots of people actually abandoning homes, so that means less income for that homeowners association, and the homeowners that are left behind have to pick up the slack.
There's another homeowner who's quoted who's saying, and tell me if you agree with this, Tony, they said paying your HOA dues can be the last bill on the mind of a homeowner, especially when they're struggling to pay their mortgage. I don't know that an HOA dues are necessarily the last thing on everybody's mind. I think there's a lot of different things that people will not pay.
Well, it seems to me that's a pretty common one. That if they're having trouble, if they're struggling to pay their mortgage, it's easy to kind of push aside that association bill because their services are not going to get shut off for not having paid it.
I think people probably push off the bills where nobody does anything in responding back.
That's right.
When things are quiet, but in most associations, especially when you're dealing with professional management being involved, that's typically one of the things that a management firm is certainly very cognizant of, and very careful to make sure that they're following a set procedure and protocol and policy for collections, so that the association doesn't remain a silent debtor.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But think of all the stories we read where states are trying to take away those powers from a homeowners association.
Yes. And it goes on in the story. It says one attorney said, you have a lot of homeowner associations that have high rental rates now, and the homeowners that initially moved into the communities thought they were going to have an ownership community.
So now they're bringing up two issues here. One, there are many homes that are not paying assessments, which causes a burden for the other owners. And because there's vacant homes in associations, developers are opting to rent them out so they can try and get through this market crisis.
That sounds like someone who's working towards a solution because they can't do what
they can't sell them.
Their first choice.
But you can understand that the homeowners that purchased in the association are kind of upset by that because they didn't intend to live in a rental community. Yeah. They thought they were going to live in a community of owners.
And again, the common theme here, which was in our last one too, is people talk about how they're feeling, and they feel powerless. This one woman who was quoted said, "It makes you feel like you just want to give up." And one of the things that we're seeing across the nation with legislators in so many states trying to be quick to come up with a new bill. They're trying to take care, trying to answer this hopelessness that people feel. And I don't know that you can legislate that. You can't legislate happiness. You can't legislate a perfect life for people.
That's right.
And that's what I think folks are asking for.
Again, to me it gets back to I want it the way I want it. And if I can't have it that way, I'm going to try and drag my state legislature into the process and get a bill passed so I can have my way, so that I don't have to feel bad about this.
Yeah. When people are looking at this housing crisis, what are some of the real reasons for us getting into the mess? One of the things that is basic, I think, was the lifting of criteria with lenders.
That's right.
In terms of what a person would and could afford.
Mm-hmm.
We have those have since been put back in place, and of course now people aren't purchasing the way they did before. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
I agree. The market is correcting itself, and it's painful to go through this.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's what happens in a free market.
It is very common for lenders now to say, you know what, you need to have between 33% of your income as a household being used towards what you can afford for a home that's rental or a home that you're going to purchase. That's
kind of the rule of thumb. If you make 3 times, your household brings in 3 times the amount of the rent or the mortgage payment, you're probably on safe ground.
And now some people who are renting out houses, they may lift that and make that a little bit more generous, but they're
not
that
in this
landlord,
market.
but that's the landlord's choice.
That's right. That is up to the landlord as to what that formula is. That's right.
Yeah, the one thing that's hasn't I think that's been lost in this this discussion of the housing crisis that we're in is the idea that buying a home still is an investment. It is, and anytime you purchase an investment, one of the things that I think about is that means there is some risk.
When
you buy something in hopes that it's going to go up higher than
in
what
value,
you purchased it for, and that's what a lot of people have been hoping on. A lot of people were buying homes over the last few years for that because of that very premise.
That's right.
It wasn't about this is my home that I'm going to live in and to use and enjoy for 10, 20, 30 years, and our family's going to grow up here. It was, this is going to be an investment. Anytime you're dealing with an investment, there's risk. And now that people found out that their investment was indeed a risk and they lost, they're coming back and they're saying, that's not fair. They wanted a guarantee. And there just aren't any guarantees.
And in homeowners associations, I think it goes along with a lot of misunderstanding. There's misunderstanding for the same reason. People did not pay attention to what they were buying or what they own or don't own when they buy in a homeowners association, and what they don't pay much attention to what the risks are. And in this association situation, there are risks. If your neighbors fail to pay their share of the assessments, then everybody else has to pick up the slack because the trash hauler still needs to be paid, the water and sewer bill still needs to be paid, the snow removal company still needs to be paid. It's the way it is.
And it makes you wonder because I don't know what any state that doesn't require this, but when it comes to a homeowners association, there is some sort of requirement of disclosure statements and items that need to be brought before the prospective buyer prior to the date of closing for them to review and to sign off on that they know and understand and accept. And it just makes me wonder, where is that? We need, I think, to instead of just looking at people who've purchased into an association and said they have been disadvantaged, we need to hold people responsible as adults for their decision. And
Exactly.
and if you said you were going to read those governing documents, then is that not what should be followed through on when you say
It's your responsibility to read the governing documents when you sign a purchase agreement. It's your responsibility as the buyer to check a financial statement. And I remember when I first started managing HOAs in 2000, the year 2000, I was astounded at the fact that we provided these financial statements to potential buyers and they didn't pay any attention to them. They didn't understand them. They didn't stop to see if there was enough money in reserves. They didn't stop to look at what's the delinquency rate in this association. Are they collecting enough money to pay their bills? Well, people are starting to pay a little more attention to that now, aren't they?
Yeah, or how about thinking ahead, to see what restrictions are in in those governing documents.
Can I put a playhouse in my backyard?
Exactly.
That's exactly what you were thinking, yes.
Yes, why not think about that ahead of time? Why not think about what your lifestyle is? How about all the people that have 6 and 7 cars? Are there parking restrictions that I may not like if I choose a home in this community?
You know what? My entire life, until I started working for you, Gene, in homeowners associations, almost the only thing I knew about a homeowners association was if you put pink flamingos in your front yard, they were going to come down on you, right? That's kind of the standard joke. Am I right?
Yeah.
My whole life. So even I, who had never bought in a homeowners association, had never worked with a homeowners association, I knew that there were some restrictions if you lived in an association, right? How many people buy into these associations and then are astounded that there are rules and regulations and restrictions? How can they be so obsequious or obtuse?
Yeah, and one of the things that I think about is that we've talked about a lot today about helicopter parents. People the parents who are always hovering over their child. And it doesn't stop after high school, but they are hovering and they're calling
college
too.
Yeah,
and
that's
why
true.
an instructor gave their child this grade.
Yeah.
I have a brother-in-law who teaches philosophy, and he has calls that he gets from parents. Why did you give my child this grade? And this hovering mentality is something that people expect. And I think they're looking for a helicopter government now, in the legislation.
Be careful what you wish for.
I wish you could just shut your big yapper.
All this legislation people are demanding, there's a dark side to this, you guys. You're allowing your government to control more and more and more of your life.
Yeah, people really need to take a look. And I wish we could get back to the adage that always has been in place in buying property, and that is you need to be at least 18 years old, so you had to be an adult. You had to be of your right mind, sane, sane person.
You had to be mentally competent.
And sober. Those are the 3 criteria for being able to purchase property.
Yeah.
But we want to, and the reason you need to do that is so that you take responsibility for what it is you're purchasing.
That's right.
And it's too bad that that's not happening. Hey, we need to take another break. Don't go away. We've got a whole lot more of Where You Live.